While billions of people are carefully curating their perfect online personas, there's a silent minority who refuse to post their photos on social media. Are they hiding something? Socially awkward? Afraid of judgment? Or do they understand something about human psychology that the rest of us have completely missed? In today's world, being visible online has become the default setting. We're told that if you're not documenting your life, you're not really living it. That moments don't count unless they're shared. But some people consciously opt out of this game entirely. Not everyone who avoids posting photos is a Zen master of psychology. Some stay offline because of social anxiety or insecurity. But today, we're talking about people who choose privacy as an act of power, not fear. And what psychology reveals about them might change how you see social media forever. Sign 1. They understand the spotlight effect. They understand a psychological phenomenon called the spotlight effect. The spotlight effect is our tendency to vastly overestimate how much other people notice and think about us. We imagine ourselves under a spotlight, the center of everyone's attention. But here's what research from Cornell University revealed. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to think about you. That photo you spent 20 minutes editing? Most people scroll past it in 2 seconds. That carefully crafted caption? Skimmed or ignored. Your entire curated feed? Forgotten. The moment someone closes the app. They've done the math. Why spend energy performing for an audience that isn't really paying attention? The sunset doesn't need to be Instagrammed to be beautiful. The dinner doesn't need validation to taste good. The experience doesn't need an audience to matter. They've stopped playing to an empty theater. Sign 2. They live in the present moment. There's a crucial difference between living an experience and performing an experience. Research using experience sampling methodology revealed something fascinating. Photographing an experience actually diminishes both our memory of it and our enjoyment of it. A study from Yale found that people who took photos during museum visits remembered less about what they saw than those who simply looked. The act of capturing steals from the act of experiencing. When we're focused on getting the right angle, the right lighting, the right caption, we're not actually in the moment. We're thinking about how the moment will look to other people later. We're experiencing life in third person instead of first person. At a concert, they're watching the performance, not watching it through a phone screen. With loved ones, they're present in the conversation, not calculating how the lighting would look. This is the philosophical distinction between being and appearing. Their memories live in their minds and hearts, not on a server somewhere. Sign 3. Their self-worth is internal. They've broken free from what psychologists call external validation dependency. Here's how it typically works. We post a photo. We wait for notifications. Each like triggers a dopamine release. Our mood rises and falls with metrics we can't control. Our self-worth becomes outsourced to the opinions of others. But they operate on a different system. They've developed what's called an internal locus of self-esteem. Carl Jung distinguished between the persona, the mask we show the world, and the authentic self, who we actually are when nobody's watching. Most of us spend our lives perfecting the persona. These people focus on strengthening the authentic self. Studies on social media behavior consistently show that heavy posters report higher validation-seeking behavior and lower baseline self-esteem. The correlation is clear. The more you need others to confirm your worth, the more you'll broadcast it. They've found their worth elsewhere, in real accomplishments, meaningful relationships, developed skills. They don't need to broadcast their value because they've internalized it. You don't need to prove you're living well when you actually are. Sign 4. They protect their psychological privacy. They're protecting what philosopher Schopenhauer called the inner sanctuary of the self. Schopenhauer understood something we've forgotten in the digital age. Privacy isn't just a legal right, it's a psychological necessity. When you post your photos online, you're surrendering control. Those images become permanent artifacts floating in digital space forever. Other people control the narrative now. Their tags, their comments, their interpretations, their screenshots. A photo from your happiest moment can be misinterpreted, used out of context, or weaponized against you years later. You can delete it from your profile, but you can never delete it from the internet. They value the boundary between their private self and public self. Once you put your image out there, it's no longer yours. Your face, your moments, your life, they all become public property. Some people find that trade worth it. These people don't. Sign 5. They reject the personal brand economy. They reject the commodification of human identity. In the attention economy, we've all become brands, marketing ourselves. Every photo is an advertisement. Every profile is a billboard for the life we want people to think we're living. We're not sharing anymore. We're selling. They've opted out of this market. They understand what Machiavelli knew 5 centuries ago. There is tremendous power in mystery, in restraint, in what you don't reveal. In a world where everyone is shouting for attention, scarcity becomes valuable. The person who doesn't constantly broadcast becomes more intriguing, not less. They understand the difference between being known and being seen. Being truly known requires depth, time, conversation, vulnerability. Being seen just requires a camera and Wi-Fi. They'd rather be deeply known by 5 people than superficially seen by 5,000. Because they understand something fundamental. The people who matter don't need the performance. And the people who need the performance don't matter. Here's the paradox. The people who don't seek attention often command more respect. The ones who don't broadcast their value often possess the most of it. This isn't about moral superiority. Many people find genuine joy and connection through sharing their images online, and that's perfectly valid. This is simply about recognizing that there's another path, a different way of being in the world. Some people have decided that their worth doesn't need to be witnessed. Their experiences don't need to be validated. Their identity doesn't need to be performed. So here's the question. Are you living your life, or are you performing it? Are you posting because it genuinely brings you joy? Or because you've been conditioned to believe that undocumented moments somehow count less? The most confident people are often the ones who don't need to announce their presence. Real confidence doesn't need an audience. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all.